Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, The Gentleman Reviewer. So today is kind of fun because I've got a new phone that I'm recording on. So up until now I've been recording on a Galaxy S9, which I think has turned out okay. When I run the video through a video editing software, it actually cleans it up quite a bit well and makes it into high definition. So I'm interested to see in how the Galaxy S10 does. So before I get going into my ink review, as always, please subscribe to this channel and help me grow. Again, I just had fairly consistent slow growth since the start of this channel, and let's keep it going. So today I've got my second ink review for you guys. This is the Noodler's Tchaikovsky, which is a very nice light purple with a little bit of gray features ink. So Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, I think I said that right, was a musical composer in the late 1800s who created works that pretty much anyone can recognize if you hear some classical music. There's going to be songs like The Nutcracker, Swan Lake, 1812 Overture, Sleeping Beauty. Even if you don't recognize those by names, I bet you that if you heard them played for you, you'd recognize it from somewhere. Personally, The Nutcracker is the most familiar to me. I mean, it's played at Christmas all the time. I've been to the ballet, The Nutcracker, and yeah, I mean, there's a movie out there. I think it was Mickey Mouse playing The Nutcracker where the music would have been played. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me. I'd love to find that. I couldn't find it when I was searching for it. But if it's out there, let me know what it's called. Just comment below. So, getting back on track from movies and songs and stuff, Noodler's is a brand that I've come across quite a few times, and one that I've never actually purchased, and I don't know exactly why. I did hear that some of their inks might stain some pens, especially on the converters and everything, because of their formulation, and a lot of them are permanent, or some of them are permanent, so it would make it really stick to the pen's converter. And this is one, I'll get into it a little bit more later, but I can't really see it sticking any more than some other inks would. It's not super full right now, but you can still see quite a bit of purple. So I might update the blog after, like the blog post, not the video, after I clean it out. So I'll let you know if it really does stain. But like I said, I haven't noticed anything too bad so far, or really anything at all. So I mean, given that that's never happened, I was kind of worried about placing it in this pen. I put it in the Lamy Safari with an extra fine nib, which is a pen that's pretty common across the fountain pen community. So with that, let's actually get into the ink, because I've been rambling for about 3 minutes now. So the Noodler's Tchaikovsky ink is from Noodler's Russian line, which is a line of inks commemorating various Russian composers, writers, and the like. This one is, like I said before, a Russian composer, classical music, who kind of pulled together the East and the West styles of music. So it's cool that they're commemorating an ink. So overall, the ink's performance on paper, as you can see, is pretty superb. This is a Rhodia dot pad with 80 GSM paper. But across the board, except for really cheap papers like printer paper, copy paper, stuff like that, I've seen really good performance. Very, very little, if none at all, feathering, bleed through, anything like that, even on some of the really wet sides, because on my swabs it tends to stay very wet over here. And I mean, you'll see there's some, it looks like ghosting, but that's the from the paper getting wet. That actually might be a little bleed through right there, but I can't tell right now. It doesn't look like bleed through, but I mean, very little ghosting, and I think that's just because the light coming through, it's reflecting off the paper. So the dry time on this has been very good. I was somewhere between 5 and 9 seconds. I've seen some reviews that stated the ink dried as quickly as 1 to 2 seconds, or as long as 15 to 20. One thing to know about Noodlers is they make their inks in small batches, so each one's going to vary slightly, just a little bit. Each batch will be like slightly different shades of the color. So it's going to vary across batch. I don't know how much dry time would be affected by that, but it could be. So even on some of my thinnest papers, I didn't see ghosting or anything like that. Like my last review with the Diamine Prussian Blue, it was ghosting on, or feathering on quite a few papers, bleeding through. And I didn't have it in a significantly different nib, but I mean, diamine tends to make fairly wet inks. So this ink has some features that really make it great for important documents. So first of all, it's bulletproof, which means that it's made from a cellulose reactive dye, so it's going to be forge resistant. So it's going to Noodler's website under bulletproof says that it's going to resist things like UV light wands, bleaches, alcohol solvents, petrochemicals, oven cleaners, carpet cleaners, and all of that stuff. And so they're waterproof as well. That also falls under the bulletproof category. So I did the waterproof test, and there's a little smudging, but I mean, you can see that the ink is still all there. So it was very water resistant. I put some drops of water on it for a couple minutes actually, and it nothing happened. So I was letting it sit there for quite a while. You can feel it's raised up and everything, but not bad at all. So it definitely stood that. The next feature that this one has is it's eternal, so it's going to stand the effects of time, making it archival quality ink. So this is going to resist things like moisture, humidity, UV light, acids, all of it. So it's really going to stand up. So it's something that you could write an important letter with and not worry about it fading away over time. So I did use a couple different types of pens just to give this a test. Like I said, I've primarily been using it with the Lamy Safari with an extra fine nib, which I liked it a lot. You know, it gave it a really nice light purple, kind of on the lilac side of the purple spectrum. And then when I get to thicker ones, it obviously gets a little bit darker, almost like it has some gray in it, especially as you get over here. I don't know how well it's showing up on the camera, but you get some really dark purple there. So with my glass dip pen outside of my typo right there, you can see that it starts off pretty dark and gets a little bit lighter, and then it picked up again on the pen part. I did use a calligraphy nib. I can't do calligraphy, but that one is actually... The nib that I used was fairly wet, so it did end up being pretty dark across the board. And then, as always, I dipped my Jinhao X750 in, which is my thickest nib that I have currently. And you can see it did maintain that really light purple side. So the ink itself has no sheen, no shimmer, anything like that, just really basic purple. So overall, I mean, this ink has really exceeded my expectations. I was kind of worried with the Noodlers putting it in my fountain pen because I'd heard some stories about it staining the converter, which isn't a problem because it's not going to like seep into other inks. But someone like me, I like keeping my stuff looking good, and I don't want a purple color to be stuck on my converter. So like I said, I'll update the blog, and I'll try to remember to put a comment into the description down below after I clean this one out to let you know if it did stain the converter. From what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like it is so far. But I mean, this is ink that's going to really stand up over time. It doesn't seem to smear too much. Even on the 3-second mark, it was not very smeared at all. And it just, you know, it's a great purple ink. It's not something that I would use in a professional setting, like signing documents or putting in a housing application, since that's what I do a lot with the people I work with. So yeah, overall, it was great. Comment below if I missed anything, and let me know some other inks that you'd like to see me review. I will see you all next time.